basically a decision point. If you go one way, then the consequences of that decision are totally different from if you would have taken the other decision.
Exactly. The consequences are totally different.
That has an impactful meaning. I remember one speech that Paul Bonaforte he delivered, wherein he talks about this glass that you're going through, and then he talks about decisions.
Yeah.
Right?
Sliding doors.
Sliding
Talking
doors.
about sliding doors.
So
yeah,
it's obvious that you're passionate about this game. I don't have to even challenge you on that.
yeah.
But then the message that I hear from you is, see, there are many people who play video games who don't even try to extract a lesson out of it, and they just go do their own thing. What I have found out after being in businesses after 20 years is the race to greatness is like a bottomless pit, in the sense that the race is so intense and it keeps on going. If you can imagine the Facebook feed, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't end. It keeps on going. So I tell this because I was just comparing my story. We were doing really well in real estate. We were in one of the top agents in the Maricopa County. We got these awards and all that, right? Then I was getting burnout, or I was curious, how are the mortgage brokers doing it, right? How are the insurance guys doing it? Because we are seeing all of those different vendors doing it. If you were like an animal, like an animal, the definition of success for the day for you is you find your kill, and then your stomach is full. That's a success.
And I say I understand it all because I've been there, but I want to say I know that me being there doesn't mean I won't go there again. So I've been at burnout. I completely crashed and burned bad. The restart had to take a minimum, like not minimum wage, but close to minimum wage job restarting. I went from, a 3,000 square foot house to living in my in-laws bedroom, in a bedroom at my in-laws house with my 2 kids.
Hugo, I'm so happy you're back. I want to talk more. Last time we talked about the Team 212 and how the community that you're part of is helping a lot of people who are just wanting to improve and focus on their goals. Specific thing that I noticed in you, meeting you at Toastmasters, in the last 6 months, I see a completely new person. Like you've been like improving at a very aggressive rate. So I call it a transformation or a metamorphosis.
Yeah.
So I want you to just focus on that. In 6 months you improved, but how were you as a child? And I want to talk about your journey.
Okay, let's talk about that. So, yeah, I think life is all about transformation.
Life is about transformation, which is evolution.
Evolution, yeah, and I mean, it doesn't have to be an evolution. It could be a de-evolution or de-evolution.
Yes.
But it's transformation. You're either improving or you're not. You're deep, like you're losing your skill. You don't just stand still. So yeah, for me, when I was a kid, I loved video games, and I loved Mario. Mario was really fun because it was like the challenge of jumping and stuff and getting from one side of the map to the other with all of these obstacles. And then you get to the end, you get the flag, and then you go to the next level. And it was cool because it felt like a progression. Like you're experiencing this journey. And that was fun. But then I discovered The Legend of Zelda. Have you ever played The Legend of Zelda?
No, I'm not into video games at all.
Okay. So The Legend of Zelda is a game where you start with nothing. You're a pixel character on a pixel screen with some rocks around you and dirt. And then there's a cave at the top of the screen. And there's also 4 different directions or 3 different directions you can go. So you could go up, left, right, or into the cave. And depending on what you do, that changes the whole course of your game. Because if you go left, right, or up, you're helpless. And there's a bunch of enemies. And there's this world that's scary.
So it's basically a decision point. If you go one way, then the consequences of that decision are totally different from if you would have taken the other decision.
Exactly. The consequences are totally different.
That has an impactful meaning. I remember one speech that Paul Bonaforte, he he delivered, wherein he talks about this glass that you're going through, and then he talks about decisions, right?
Sliding doors. He's
Sliding
talking about
doors.
sliding doors.
Yes.
So if you make the wrong decision, you're lost forever. But if you go in that cave, there's an old man, and he says, it's dangerous to go alone. Take this. And he gives you a sword. So then now you get that sword, and you can go around, you can start defeating some of these enemies, and they drop items. And they drop things that can help you on your journey. Every time you defeat an enemy, you have a chance of getting an item that can help you on your journey. And then as you're exploring, you find dungeons. And dungeons are this whole new environment. Usually you're going underground, and things are more dangerous there, scarier. And there's harder enemies, but they give you things like keys and extra weapons like bow and arrow. So in the dungeons, you get some more powerful items. But at the end of the dungeon, there's usually a boss room. And in that boss room, usually you can tell that there's a boss room coming up because you can hear some screams coming from the boss room as you approach it. And once you cross the door to get into that boss room, everything closes. The doors close and you're locked in there with the boss of the dungeon boss. And it's usually a very hard enemy to defeat. You can die, and if you die, you have to try it all over again. But if you win, you defeat the boss, you go and you get a piece of heart, a heart piece, and that gives you some more health, and then now you have more endurance to explore further and find more dungeons, get more hearts, get more endurance, explore further. And that is transformation to me.
It's obvious that you're passionate about this game. I don't have to even challenge you on that.
Yeah.
But then the message that I hear from you is, see, there are many people who play video games who don't even try to extract a lesson out of it, and they just go do their own thing. But here you have Hugo, who is trying to extract lessons out of what he was doing for fun.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to compare that to a life choice. Okay, this is a choice. If I have to make a right choice, and then you are being aware of it and you're trying to do it. Who told you to compare video games to real life? How did you do that?
Well, I didn't do it on purpose, and I didn't know I was doing it until I grew up and I realized that I was doing it. But when I was a kid, that was my that was my entertainment to me, video games.
Yeah.
And anytime I was playing a video game, if I wasn't making progress, I felt low. I felt bad. I would get angry sometimes and throw my controller. And sometimes I'd get so angry I'd stop playing the video game, and that's it. And I never finished it. But if the game was important enough to me, I would struggle through it, and then I would get to the skill level that I needed to beat whatever I was stuck in. So to me, video games were just my own personal development. Like, it was my treadmill that I would play, and I enjoyed the struggle. So as I went into the real world, and I started noticing that I was applying that same behavior to my job, where I would do something difficult, and then when I would get stuck on it, I would just keep going at it until I got past it, unless I got frustrated and I just said I gave up and failed at it, because we all fail. Right. So yeah, that's something I just naturally did, but I realized it later.
Let me give you totally opposite perspective on this.
Okay.
See, transformation into the positive is great, right? You transformed from where you were as a teenager, then you improved and became something, right? Then what I have found out after being in businesses after 20 years is the race to greatness is like a bottomless pit, in the sense that the race is so intense and it keeps on going. If you can imagine the Facebook feed, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't end. It keeps on going. Like, there is no destination. It's just a journey. You keep on going through it. You have to be intentional to decide when it is enough to stop that particular race. Growing up, we always had the struggle. We had the school race, right? Then you go to college, the college race. Then you have the grades race. Then you have the job race. Then you have to find the right spouse race. Then then the kids race.
Yeah.
Like, even businesses, like, you are working hard at a professional level. What I found was, you have to have your sleep number, like the sleep number bed they talk about.
Yeah.
That's why I call my YouTube channel Why Seekers, because I need to know how much wealth I need, and then how much happiness I need, and how much of personality development I need to be content.
Mm-hmm.
Without being self-aware, what happens is you get to burnout. I'm talking not right now, maybe after 20-25 years, because you then become popular. Like if your business takes off, then you can become popular. You get on TV, then you have all these news articles, people are writing about you, and then your next gig will start with that as a baseline, and then the pressure will keep on building. Same with wealth, right? You start to make some money, and then you buy a big house. Then after that, you cannot downgrade anymore, right? Even your family, your kids, if you have a 4,000 square feet home, you can't come back and do a 1,600 square feet home anymore. From 4,000, you need to go to 5,000, home with a pool, golf course, you on a mountain, things like that. So there is nothing wrong with it if you are enjoying the game. If you are enjoying the game, you go through the game, you transform to a better person, there is nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But there comes a point wherein you have to pick the game that you want to compete, and also you have to play the game. Once you win the game, you have to know whether it is time to stop the game, or you want to switch to some other game, or you want to build upon the game, like the video game example that you gave. Okay, you win something, the old man gives you a sword. It's okay to be content with the sword and then come back and go into the other room maybe.
Mm.
So I tell this because I was just comparing my story. We were doing really well in real estate.
Okay.
We were in one of the top agents in the Maricopa County. We got these awards and all that, right? Then I was getting burnout, or I was curious, how are the mortgage brokers doing it, right? How are the insurance guys doing it? Because we are seeing all of those different vendors doing different things. I felt it was okay for me to jump into a different profession and pick a new game, because that's what stimulates us.
Yeah.
And that's what good transformation is. Like, we don't have to keep on building on what is existing, but we can go start something new from scratch and then start a new game. And sometimes the society or the community will not support us, but we have to have the guts to transform. How will we get the guts, right? That's another question. How would I know if I'm done with the game or not? If we were like an animal, just if like an animal, the definition of success for the day for you is you find your kill, and then your stomach is full. That's a success for you. In today's world, the success comes back to the seeking of the why, the wealth, happiness, and you. You have to define your sleep number as to what wealth do you need. Like, how much wealth do you need for you and your family to be happy? You have to define it. Just like the goals you have for the Team 212, you have to have two numbers for wealth, right? One is passive cash flow. Like, even without you lifting a finger, or if you just, let's say you get into an accident and you're completely paralyzed, how much income will your family get for them not to miss you? Like, you're not dead. If you're dead, you don't even have to worry about it. You're not dead. I just got into an accident and this is what it is. Okay, what is that number? Is it $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, 2,000 or 20,000? You define your wealth number, right?
Yeah.
That's your sleep number, like how you have for your bed. That's cash flow. Some people are okay to wrap their head around net worth. Some people like net worth. I like cash flow.
Yeah.
Net worth is okay. They are sitting on lot of assets, lot of debt, and their asset value is going up. Now they are worth 10 million, 20 million, 30 million. If I get paralyzed, then my wife has to sell these assets and then she can do something else with that money. That's the concept, right? So that is one out of the why seekers, the W we have to define. Then happiness quotient is a state of mind which directly, unfortunately, is related to money only.
For most people.
For most people, because relationships, everything, if you're confident with the wealth, then you can have better with everything, because that's how the entire capitalistic society is built. So the point I was trying to make is, it's okay to keep on transforming to the better one, but then we as entrepreneurs especially, somebody that has a personality like you, who is like, you're like a fighter, you always want to improve, like, I don't think I can see you stopping anytime soon, kind of a personality, right?
Right.
That might cause intense stress
Mm-hmm.
if you don't know what it is, especially if you're leading a community of people who are improving, and suddenly you say, oh, from now on, I'm not going to be practicing public speaking or something weird like that. Let's say, I mean, you've been an ardent Toastmaster, you've been mentoring people, you inspire people. Come 2026, Hugo decides not to go to Toastmasters anymore, which should be okay, technically.
Mm-hmm.
It should not be a surprise
Yeah.
or anything. Anyway, I'm trying to give you a
I like
totally
what you're,
different
I
perspective.
love what you're talking about because
Oh,
I understand it all. And I, I say I understand it all because I've been there, but I want to say I know that me being there doesn't mean I won't go there again. So
right.
I've been at burnout. I completely crashed and
Yeah.
burned bad. A restart, had to take a minimum, like not minimum wage, but close to minimum wage job restarting. I went from, a 3,000 square foot house to living in my in-laws bedroom, in a bedroom at my in-laws house with my two kids and our pit bull. So
Oh, wow.
I've been at that point where I was just burnt out from all the personal development and work and just hustling and entrepreneurship, and crashed and burned and then hit rock bottom for months and sat there for months and then transformed my way out of there, and then got a lot of wisdom from that experience, and a lot of, when I say wisdom, I don't mean like intelligence. I do mean intelligence, but more in the real intelligence where you understand something without having to communicate it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that is actually what I want to help people with the most, is preventing that burnout. And I think it's something that I do. I think people see me and see how intense I am, and the first thing they think is like, oh, that's going to burn me out if I try to be like him. And I think I'm this intense in everything, including how much fun I have and how much of a great time I have with my family. Like when we talk about,
I can see that.
I'm talking about video games. I just came back from, right before I came to this podcast, I just bought a game to play with my wife that we're going to play tonight because, we like to play video games together. That's how we bond. We like to work out together. So I do believe that if you focus in on one area and you become obsessed in one area of your life, that's a big recipe for burnout. And most people become obsessed in becoming, not most, but a lot of people become obsessed in becoming successful,
Right.
and generating income. And then when they generate some of that income and they see that it's not fulfilling that need, then
Yeah.
they crash and burn.
No, that's why I would like to tie it back to the complete wholesome development that you guys are doing at Team 212, and
Yeah.
how you are helping people with the F's, right? I heard finances, then fitness, and then what are the other things? Family,
And
yeah.
then fundamentals.
Fundamentals.
Yeah.
And then you added fun to it.
No, I emphasize fun.
You
So when we
emphasize
talk about
fun.
fundamentals in our system relates to the fundamentals of personal development. So when you're setting goals, we tell our members that we recommend they set one goal per category, at least. I mean, some people like to set multiple goals. I think you should start with one. It's too much. I mean, depending, but whatever. So one goal per category. And when I talk about fundamentals, that is anything to do with like, hey, I'm taking this personal development course and I want to go through it. You put that in your goals because that's a course that you're taking. And every week you have assignments. So you would put that in your Team 212 goals for the week of what your assignments are under fundamentals. But I also like to put fun goals in that category. So some weeks I'll put, like I said, an art project. I want to learn, how to draw. I used to draw as a kid. I stopped drawing, and I want to pick it back up. So one of my goals in fundamentals is to take this art class. So, when we talk about, when people see how intense I am, I'm this intense in everything.
Yeah,
And one of my fundamental goals was I always wanted to make video games. So I learned how to code and made a video game.
Make one. Oh,
Yeah.
that will be fun.
So those are fundamental goals. Yeah.
Okay. That's great. I enjoy chatting with you, Hugo. We have lot of things in common, especially interest about improving our own personality is something that I'm passionate about myself
Hmm.
and enjoy talking to you. You have any closing comments?
Transformation, we started by talking about transformation, and I'll say again, I think that's what life is all about. We are all making a transformation, and I don't think it's always positive. So I think everybody should look in the mirror and like really ask yourself, what transformation am I making? And that's it.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.